Hello viewers and welcome to Learning with JGO. In this lesson, we shall discuss a summary and analysis on The Night Rain by J.P. Clark. J.P. Clark's Night Rain is a narrative poem of 47 lines. The poem talks about the influence of natural phenomena on the lives of humans. Using the term night rain, the poet represents all forms of natural activities with a downpour of water from the skies and also describes the uncontrollable nature of these events. Denotatively, night rain may be understood as the visible rains. It could also be understood as all forms of natural activities with different impacts on humans, whether good or bad. On a deeper level, however, night rain connotes the extreme levels of poverty present among people in especially Africa, and more specifically Nigeria, where the poet comes from. The term is used in an attempt to address all forms of social issues faced by most Africans, especially those in the rural areas, who are at the mercy of nature when nature strikes hard. In a country like Nigeria, endowed with abundant human and natural resources, it is alarming to learn the extent of impoverishment experienced by its people despite the gifts of nature and the enormous potential it possesses. The night rain can be divided into two parts. The first part talks about the hardship faced by the persona and his household as a result of a disturbing natural occurrence. The second part, which is about the last 6 lines of the poem, presents some sort of hope to the persona of overturning this situation around. J.P. Clark's poem employs a lot of images from nature, which marks the brutal realities faced by the people, most especially in the villages, with gross underdevelopment and neglect by leaders of the country. Quickly, let's take a look at this poem and try to have a sense of it. The Night Rain by J.P. Clark. What time of night it is, I do not know, except that like some fish doped out of the deep, I have bobbed up belly-wise, from stream of sleep, and no cock crow. It is drumming hard here, and I suppose everywhere, droning with insistent ardor upon our roof thatch and shed, and through sheaves slit open to lightning and rafters. I cannot quite make out overhead. Great water drops are dribbling, falling like orange and mango. Fruit showered forth in the wind, or perhaps I should say so. Much like beads I could in a prayer tell, then on strings as they break in wooden bowls and earthenware. Mother is busy now deploying about our roomlet and floor. Although it is so dark, I know her practice step as she moves her bins, bags, and vats out of the run of water, that like ants falling out of the wood will scatter and gain possession of the floor. Do not tremble then, but turn, brothers, turn upon your side of your loosening mat to where the others lie. We have drunk tonight of a spell, deeper than the owls or bats, that wet of wings may not fly, bedraggled upon the iroko they stand, emptied of hearts, and therefore will not stir, no, not even at dawn, for then they must carry in to hide. So let us roll over our back, and again roll to the beat of drumming all over the land, and under its ample soothing hand, joined to that of the sea, we will settle to sleep of the innocent and free. The poem begins with, what time of night it is, I do not know. The beginning of this poem already suggests to us the nature of life in the persona's household. The persona's inability to identify the time of the night reveals to us how primitive and unsophisticated life is in the community of the persona. Having no clue about time suggests the unavailability of modern-day devices that tell time. The setting of this poem is surely in a rural area. So, what time of night it is, I do not know, except that like some fish doped out of the deep, I have bobbed up belly-wise from a stream of sleep and no cock crow. In the first few lines, we observe that the persona is awoken at night by a natural phenomenon, rainfall. He compares his experience of waking up suddenly at night to a fish being forced out from a water body with the use of chemicals. The persona is unable to sleep again because of the poor structure of his house that makes way for some of the rainwater to flood his room. It could be understood that the unexpected occurrence of rainfall during the night hinges on the fact that the problems experienced by the persona and his people may take different forms and may occur at different times of the day or night. The fact that the persona is ignorant about the time of the night explains the fact that he is as well ignorant about the impact natural phenomena may cause. And no cock crow, it is drumming hard here, and I suppose everywhere, droning with insistent ardor upon our roof thatch and shed. And through sheaves slit open to lightning and rafters, I cannot quite make out overhead. And no cock crow goes on to reassert that the persona still lives in a society where cock crows determine the time of the day. Obviously, the absence of cock crows gives the persona that belief that he has been awoken by the rain at night. The rain finds its way through the thatch of his home. A thatch is a roof of a house, mostly in rural areas made of a plant material such as straw. The sight of lightning, whose flashes have illuminated the room with split open thatch and weak rafters supporting the roof, makes the persona confused and uncomfortable. Great water drops are dribbling, falling like orange and mango. Fruit showereth forth in the wind, or perhaps I should say so, much like beads I could in a prayer tell, then on strings as they break in wooden bowls and earthenware. In these lines, the persona compares the heaviness of the rainfall to fruits like oranges and mangoes that are scattered in the community. The image of showered fruits gives an idea as to how thick the rain is and the kind of sounds produced by the rain. Or perhaps I should say so, much like beads I could in a prayer tell. In another perspective, the poet compares the falling of the rain to the breaking of beads in wooden bowls and earthenware. Collection of rainwater in containers during an event of rainfall by women is a common practice in rural areas. Imagine the sounds produced by beads when they strike hard surfaces like the ones mentioned by the poet. They produce sharp sounds that can draw the attention of anybody close. Line 19, much like beads I could in a prayer tell, introduces us to the religious component of this poem. Beads here symbolize the rosary, used by many Christians in practicing their religious faith. Even though this poem suggests to us that the persona is a Christian, the use of beads may also refer to Muslims in his community or other people with different religious backgrounds who use the rosary as a means of communicating to God or their maker. At the mercy of the rains, the persona and his people find comfort during this unpleasant situation by speaking to God to ease their hardships. An activity that gives everyone a sense of hope that there will be a better tomorrow. Mother is busy now deploying about her roomlet and floor. Although it is dark, I know a practice step as she moves her bins, bags and vats out of the run of water. Line 22 to line 27 introduces us to the motherly role of woman at home in devastating times. That even though it is so dark, the persona can feel her movements about the room as she rescues their belongings. Her practice step in line 25 suggests that it is not the first time they've experienced such a heavy downpour, with mother always packing their belongings to safety. It also reveals that mother is used to the task of always packing the bags in such a period. That like ants gain possession of the floor, do not tremble then, but turn, brothers, turn upon your side of the loosening mat to where the others lie. We observe in these lines the comparison of leaking rain droplets in the room of the persona to the movement of ants taking possession of space. Such an event may create fear, but the persona comforts his brothers and tells them not to tremble. Turning upon the side of their loosening mats reveals the image of poverty, as they will have to compromise by sleeping uncomfortably due to the impact of the rain. We have drunk tonight of a spell, deeper than the owls or bats, that wet of wings may not fly, bedraggled upon the Iroquois tree they stand. Emptied of hearts, and therefore will not stir, no, not even at dawn, for then they must carry in to hide. In these lines, the persona compares his plight to that of night birds such as bats and owls. Night birds hardly fly out during the day. They enjoy living in darkness. An image of these birds standing on a powerful Iroquois tree suggests the kind of spirit and strength possessed by the night birds. Even so, they are unable to move an inch during this event of heavy downpour. Their wings are wet and they are unable to fly. Despite all these limitations imposed on the bats and owls, the persona reasserts that his experience of this calamity, together with that of his household, is more traumatic than that of the night birds, who after a heavy downpour find it difficult to appear at dawn. These lines reveal to us the power of nature and how instructive it can be on our lives. So let us roll over our back and again roll to the beat of drumming all over the land, and under its ample soothing hand, joined to that of the sea, we will settle to sleep of the innocent and free. There is a sense of hope flowing through these lines. The persona is optimistic of a better tomorrow. He admonishes his people to sleep regardless and embrace the beats and sounds of the rain that have stamped their mark across every breadth and length of the community. The sound of the rain as it joins the sea is described as soothing by the persona. It also portrays a picture of conclusion of the heavy downpour. In the last line of the night rain, the persona admits the innocence of nature, particularly the rain. He understands that nature can be rough and smooth at the same time. The rain, after denying them of a comfortable sleep, might also be a blessing in another regard for farmers who are ready to till the land for food. J.P. Clark's Night Rain attempts to highlight the poor standards of living in certain parts of the world and the inability of leaders in putting effort in improving the lives of people. The persona in the concluding lines has high hopes of reconciling their lives to that of nature so that they can complement each other.